Okay, here's my UFC Fight Night 21 predictions. Takes place next Wednesday, March 31st, to end a great month of mixed martial arts. It comes after UFC 111 and right before the new season of Ultimate Fighter. So I think overall, I think this has just been a great month, and I think this card is very good to end it off with. So also, if you guys didn't know, if you guys are boxing fans like I am, there's also another great boxing fight this Saturday. It's Andre Derell versus Arthur Abraham for the Super 6 tournament that Showtime's doing. So I'm DVRing that fight because I think it's going to be very good because I'm going to watch UFC 111 live. And also, just period, I think this card's really decent. So let's get to it. So let's get to the preliminaries. First one I have is Charlie Brenneman versus Jason High. I got High. Gerald Harris versus Mario Miranda. Miranda is from here. I did not know that, but he's from Kirkland, Washington, where I'm kind of from. But I'm going to go with Gerald Harris. Rob Emerson versus Nick Lentz. I got Rob Emerson. Andre Winner, Rafaello Oliveira. I got Winner. Jacob Volkmann versus Ronny Torres. I got Torres. Carl Uno versus Gleison Tibau. I got Tibau. And Yushin Okami versus Lucio Linares. I got Okami. Now on to the main bouts I have. First one, Ross Pearson versus Dennis Siver. Siver is on a 3-fight win streak. I think it's 3 or 4. I should have looked it up, but I think it's 3. Just been on a tear, but it hasn't been the competition I think that Ross is. I think Ross is another step up for Siver, and I think it's just a little too much. This is a good test for Pearson, just like his last one against Aaron Riley. When Ross fought Aaron Riley, I thought it would be a very tough fight for him, and it was somewhat, but still Pearson kind of ran right through Riley, and I see the same thing here. I see Ross just running through Dennis Siver. Siver might have a chance to get a submission, but I think Ross is pretty okay on the ground jiu-jitsu wise, and I think he's going to stay out of him, and I think he's going to get a TKO in the second round. So I'm going to go with Ross Pearson, second round TKO over Dennis Siver. Next one, Nate Quarry versus Jorge Rivera. This one, I think it's going to be, I'm expecting this to be fight of the night. It just has fight of the night written all over it. Both these fighters, Quarry and Rivera, just stand up. They love to have a war, and I can't wait for this fight. Quarry is very, very educational, I guess you could say, on the feet, but he has a weird style. Kind of puts his hands out. In a weird way. He doesn't really, it's not traditional Muay Thai or kickboxing or boxing. He just has his hands out like this, and that's how he fights. He punches like this, and it works for him. But I think Jorge Rivera has the crisper punches. I think he's faster than Quarry. Does he hit harder than Quarry? I'm going to say no. I think Quarry probably hits harder, but I think Rivera has, I think he's faster, and I think he's just more technical than Nate is. With that said, I expect a war. I could easily see this going to a decision, maybe even a split decision going to either way. But I'm going to go with Rivera, third round TKO. I don't know why I said third round. I'm feeling that it's going to be just 2 rounds of just going at it. Third round's going to be the same way, and I think Quarry's going to get clipped because it seems like he gets clipped every single fight. He gets clipped. And it looks like it's almost over, and then the other fighter just doesn't finish it. And I think Jorge is going to finish this fight. I think he's going to get Quarry hurt, and he's going to finish the fight. I'm going to say Jorge Rivera, third round TKO over Nate Quarry. Okay, next is a heavyweight bout between Roy Nelson and Stefan Struve. This one's a pretty tough one to do because how is Roy Nelson going to do with Stefan Struve's reach, his tallness, and just period his awkwardness. And how Stefan Struve going to deal with Roy Nelson? Just say the name Roy Nelson, you think of big country, the big belly. I do think this fight is going to go to the ground. I don't think it's really going to. I think Roy Nelson can take Stefan Struve down anytime, and I think Stefan Struve is going to have no takedown defense and just be right on his back. So I think it's a matter of time before Roy Nelson says, okay, let's get this to the ground, because I think in the stand-up war, I think Stefan Struve's going to win it. I think Struve has the reach, he has the speed, and he's improved tremendously since his first fight, and I think since his loss to Junior Dos Santos. He did extremely well against Paul Bontello, and I think Paul Bontello is probably a better stand-up fighter than Roy Nelson, so If it gets to the ground, which I think it's going to be, then I think it's all Roy Nelson. I know Stefan Struve has had the majority of his wins by submissions, but Roy Nelson is no new guy. He's a veteran. He's been in many different organizations, and he's a great fighter. He uses his plus size, I guess say, his big belly to his advantage. Once he gets you to the ground, he uses that as a pinpoint, and we're going to see if Stefan Struve has enough muscle to move that big belly of his. And I truly don't think that's going to happen. I think Roy Nelson might lose the first round, but I think maybe mid-first round, second round, he's going to figure out, you know what, I need to get this to the ground. I hate to say it, probably lay and pray, I guess you could say, but I think he's going to get a decision, Roy Nelson, unanimous decision over Stefan Struve, just because of his skills, I guess you could say. I mean, you know, he does have that big belly, but he does have tremendous skills, great ground and pound, and I think that's going to give him the win here. So, Roy Nelson, unanimous decision over Stefan Struve. Now to the main event, Kenny Florian versus Takanori Gomi. Gomi, I guess you say. A lot of people say it different ways. Gomi. I say Gomi. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, this one is I can't wait for this fight. I think it's fireworks written all over it. I have a few questions, though, in this fight. One, is Gomi underestimating Kenny Florian? Yes, we all know who Kenny Florian is. You know, who would underestimate him? But we're talking about Takanori Gomi, who really, let's be honest, doesn't put 100% into his fighting. He said in recent, you know, after his losses that, you know, he came back and he's stronger. But is he really taking MMA now that he's signed with the UFC 100%? Is he fully concentrated on it? Because I think that's been one of his biggest mistakes. Because I think Gomi has so much upside still. I mean, he has so much upside. I think he's had like almost over 35 fights in his career, and he's just tremendously a great fighter, but he just doesn't put everything into it when he does fight, and he underestimates a lot of fighters, and when he does that, then he loses. Kenny Florian, he's coming off a loss against BJ Penn, and then he came back to beat, who was it? I think it was Clay Guida, Kenny Florian, it seems like when he fights tougher competition, that's where he runs into a pretty big wall. And I'm going to say it, I think Gomi's that tough competition there. I'm a huge Kenny Florian fan. I can see him, you know, maybe having... in that way, I don't give any advantage to any fighter. I think stand-up-wise, I both give it equal. On the ground, Kenny Florian is a great jiu-jitsu guy. So is Gomi. Aggressiveness. If Gomi gets going, it's very hard to stop Gomi. Once he sees blood, then it's like he attacks, and it's very hard to get away from that. Kenny Florian is the same exact way. When he busted up Clay Guida, right on the ground, right that little floor, he just boosted Clay Guida, hurt Clay Guida, and what did Kenny Florian do? He just pounced on it. So same cardio, I would have to give that to Kenny Florian, I guess, so one advantage would go to cardio, Kenny Florian, but I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Gomi, second round TKO. I do see this getting stopped by one fighter or the other. I don't think it's going to go to a decision. So I'm going to go with Takanori Gomi, second round TKO. I think finally the American fans that are kind of new to mixed martial arts will finally get to see Gomi. He's not the old Gomi, but maybe we might see a little bit of the old Gomi. But I'm going to go with him, Takanori, second round TKO, but could very much see Kenny Florian winning this very much. Very hard pick. So there's my predictions. Hope you enjoyed them. Great month of fighting, mixed martial arts, and boxing, period, like I said before. So there you go. There's my predictions. Goodbye. Adios. I'm out.